Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to Healing Sleep Stories. My name is Mushroom, and tonight it is a gentle honor to be the voice that guides you into rest. This is your time now, a time to let go of the day, to set down everything you've been carrying, and to drift into a space where only peace remains. Take a slow, deep breath in, and as you exhale, feel your body softening as though it is melting into the comfort beneath you. There is nothing to do, nowhere you need to be, only this moment of calm created just for you. In a few minutes, we'll begin tonight's story, a journey woven to soothe your heart, quiet your mind, and carry you gently into sleep. So let us step together through this doorway of stillness into a dream that will cradle you and a night that will embrace you with serenity. You stand at the threshold of an ancient garden, the kind of place that feels as if it has always existed, half memory, half dream. The air smells faintly of jasmine and fresh rain. Your bare feet sink slightly into moss that cushions every step, cool and forgiving, like the earth itself wants you to walk more slowly. As you wander deeper, the garden seems to shift in rhythm with your breath. Every inhale draws the branches closer, their leaves shimmering silver in the moonlight. Every exhale loosens the grip of invisible weights you have carried for far too long. It is here, in this place, that your attachments begin to reveal themselves. At first, you don't even notice them until you look closer. The old, heavy stories you've been dragging behind you are scattered across the garden floor, disguised as objects. There's a cracked photograph frame leaning against the roots of a willow, a rusted key resting on a stone, a book with pages crawl, marbling into dust. Each one is strangely familiar. Each one is tied to something you once held on to so tightly. Memories, words, even silences. You crouch down, fingertips brushing the edge of the photograph frame. It hums faintly, as though alive, whispering with the echoes of something long gone. But the garden isn't asking you to destroy it. Instead, it invites you to see, to acknowledge what you carried, and then, very gently, to put it down. There's something liberating about this ritual. The objects don't cling. They don't resist. They simply wait for your choice. You pick up the key, feel its cool metal against your palm, and notice how your shoulders tense with the memory of doors that never opened, of opportunities you believed you missed. You exhale, and the key turns to light, dissolving softly, as if it never needed to exist. The willow rustles with approval. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird calls, a reminder that even in darkness, songs remain. And here's a curious fact to hold as you release. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, might not have even existed. Historians still argue whether they were real or simply a poetic legend written to soothe the hearts of kings. Strange, isn't it? Something so famous may have been no more than a dream, just like the stories you've carried, believable, weighty, but perhaps only half true. You walk further and more objects appear. An old shoe with laces frayed, representing times you felt unworthy to walk a path. A cracked mirror showing distorted images of who you thought you were. A broken cup, maybe from a conversation that ended too soon, or a friendship you could never quite repair. Each time you lift one, you notice how your body responds. Tightness in the chest, a lump in the throat. But when you place it down, the tension dissolves like sugar in warm tea. Speaking of tea, did you know that ancient Egyptians used crocodile dung mixed with honey as a kind of sunscreen? Practical, debatable, quirky, absolutely. And yet, it shows how humans have always tried, sometimes in laughable ways, to protect themselves from the burning light. In a similar way, you've carried these odd defenses, these heavy objects, believing they would keep you safe. And now, under the moonlight of this garden, you see they're not only unnecessary, they're rather ridiculous. You can almost chuckle as you release them, the absurdity of it all blending with relief. Like realizing you've been wearing a raincoat in the desert, sweating and confused, only to shrug it off and finally feel the breeze. As you continue, the garden's path widens into a clearing. In the center, a shallow pond reflects the stars. You lean over, and your reflection gazes back, not the weary, burdened self you've known, but something clearer. The eyes are brighter, the shoulders straighter, as though the pond shows not just who you are now, but who you are becoming. A breeze moves across the water, rippling the image. For a moment, you feel the temptation to doubt. Maybe it's just a trick of the light. Maybe it's not really you. But remember, even the stars you see in the sky are technically illusions. Their light sometimes millions of years old. Does that make their beauty any less real? Of course not. And so too with this reflection. Even if it's only a glimpse of what you're growing into, it's still true, still yours. The garden whispers with every leaf and petal, telling you it's okay to let go. That you don't need to cling to these objects, these weights, in order to prove who you are. In fact, the more you release, the more you see. You are not the photograph, the key, the shoe, the mirror, or the cup. You are the one who decides what to carry. You smile. An actual, real smile. The kind that begins deep inside your ribs. It surprises you a little, and then it feels natural, as though this garden has been waiting for you to remember it. The air grows warmer, thicker with night blue, Ming flowers. You lie down on the soft moss, your body sighing into the ground. For the first time in a long while, you sense the delicious weight of nothing, no burdens, no shoulds, no endless rehearsals of conversations that never happened, just the garden, the stars, and the sound of your own steady breath. You drift, not into sleep yet, but into something gentler, a halfway place where your subconscious begins to untangle the knots, one thread at a time, and every knot that loosens makes space for something lighter, like laughter or rest, or even a silly joke about ancient sunscreens. The night deepens, the garden hums, and you, here in this timeless space, are free to keep walking, lighter, clearer, and quietly amused at just how much unnecessary stuff you've been lugging around. The moss beneath your feet gives way to soft soil, and the garden path begins to slope gently downward. You notice the sound first, a hush of flowing water, steady and calm, like the world's own lullaby. The air is cooler here, carrying the faint scent of minerals and wet stone. You follow the sound, drawn as though by instinct, until the path opens onto the edge of a river. The river glimmers beneath the moonlight, not in silver, but in shifting shades of pale blue and violet. Its surface ripples lazily, like silk shaken out across a table. This is not a river of ordinary water. It seems alive, patient, waiting, like it has seen thousands of travelers come here before you, all with their own bundles of weight, all searching for the same release. On the bank, smooth stones have been set out in a crescent, a natural seat shaped as if for you alone. You lower yourself, the ground cool against your skin, and feel how the river draws something from within you, an unspoken invitation. The attachments you left behind in the garden, some remain dissolved into light, but others linger, softer now, but still clinging like little burrs to your clothing. The river invites you to go deeper, to let go not just of objects, but of entire stories, entire sensations that have looped endlessly in the back of your mind. You reach your hands into the current, and the river welcomes you. Its touch is warm, almost like skin, almost like memory. In your palm appears the shape of a thought, a scene you've replayed too often, a word someone once spoke that branded itself into you. You hold it up to the moonlight. It wavers, flickering, like a film strip pulled from an old projector. You don't need to analyze it. You don't need to fix it. You simply lean forward and place it into the river. The current takes it instantly. The image breaks apart like ink in water, dissolving until there is nothing left but a faint shimmer that blends with the river. Veers glow. The relief is physical. Your shoulders sag, your breath deepens, and then another thought rises. A feeling this time, a tightness in the chest from years ago, maybe even from childhood. It aches as you hold it, but when you offer it to the river, it too dissolves, as if it had only been waiting for permission to leave. The process repeats, images, voices, sensations, all lifting from within you like feathers shaken free from a pillow. You may not even remember where some of them came from, yet each one disappears into the current, leaving you lighter. And here's a strange fact to keep you company as you watch the river work its quiet magic. In ancient Rome, there were public cursing tablets. people would inscribe complaints against enemies on thin sheets of lead, then toss them into rivers or wells, hoping the gods would punish the offender. It's oddly satisfying to imagine. Historians still argue whether it was superstition or psychology, but either way, the act of casting something into water has been soothing humans for millennia, just like you're doing now, except instead of revenge, you're trading in release. A breeze ripples across the river, carrying with it a faint laughter. You realize it's your own, not loud, not forced, just a small chuckle at the absurdity of clinging so long to things you could simply drop into a stream. You think, wow, I could have just been tossing these into a cosmic recycling bin this whole time. Another memory rises, a moment of embarrassment, the kind you replay while trying to sleep, groaning at yourself in the dark. You almost hesitate because some ridiculous part of you insists on keeping it, as if self-cringe were a prized family heirloom. You laugh again because it's silly, isn't it? And then you let it fall into the water. The river accepts it greedily, swirling it away with a sparkle that feels like applause. You notice something. The river doesn't just dissolve the burdens, it transforms them. As each fragment to moment vanishes, the current glows brighter, filling the air with a soft radiance that brushes your skin. It's as though your letting go feeds the river, and the river, in turn, feeds you with calm. Lying back on the stones, you gaze at the night sky. The stars seem closer here, as if the whole universe leans down to watch you. Historians still argue whether the stars we name and trace into constellations have any objective meaning, or if we simply impose stories on random dots. Either way, the myths we've drawn up there have guided sailors across oceans and shaped entire civilizations. And now, under this sky, you realize the same thing applies inside you. You've been tracing constellations of memory, connecting dots into shapes that told stories of who you are. But maybe, just maybe, it was never the only story possible. The river murmurs agreement. You sense it encouraging you to redraw, to choose which stars you'll connect and which you'll let fade back into the dark. A quirky tidbit surfaced in your thoughts. In the 1800s, a French engineer once tried to straighten the Seine River in Paris, convinced that rivers should behave like obedient roads. Spoiler alert, the river disagreed. Nature has a way of winding where it wants, and so does healing. It doesn't move in a straight line, but in curves, in meanders, sometimes even looping back before flowing forward again. You smile at this thought, watching the river curl and bend, grateful that your release is allowed to be gentle, imperfect, even a little messy. You dip your hands again. This time, what rises isn't a single thought or feeling. It's a heavy, wordless mass, the shape of fear itself. It presses cold in your palms. For a second, you almost clutch it back to your chest, thinking, If I let this go, who will I be without it? But then the river's glow flickers, and you see, you'll be you, only lighter, stronger, freer. You tip your hands, the fear slides into the current. The surface ripples once, then smooths, as if it never existed. A hush falls. Inside you, silence opens like a cathedral, spacious, sacred. You breathe in, and the air feels clearer, fresher, as if your very lungs have been rinsed by the river. You sit there, smiling faintly, amused that letting go could feel this simple, this soft. The river continues to sing, a lullaby woven from the burdens of countless others who have sat where you sit now. You realize you are not alone in this act. Generations have come to their rivers, real or imagined, letting their griefs, mistakes, and shames be carried away. Tonight, you are part of that lineage. The moon shifts higher, and your eyelids grow heavy. The river whispers, "Rest, you've given me enough for now." You nod, lying back on the stones, letting the cool air settle over you. The sound of the current mingles with your breath until you can no longer tell which is which. And as you drift, you notice something unexpected. The river glows not only with the fragments it has carried away, but with your laughter, your lighter breaths, your very presence. You are not just releasing, you are contributing to the river itself, making it brighter for whoever will come after. The thought soothes you. You close your eyes, the river flows on, and in the darkness behind your eyelids, you see yourself already lighter, already freer, ready for the next step of your journey. You're in Warmton Trow of the sky. You will not a shoes. You will know anything. You will not the ride. You will not have. You will know to a known. Then eyes generate. You will go the genre when said the K. You take more concepted. You will find any. You will hear. You will go the genre, and the you slap the hind on the end, and the concept, the perk. You will know. You will move. Your news. Your news. Your news. Your news. Your news. Your news. Your 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 year, 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 already knows the answers, but enjoys watching you discover them. You approach slowly, both curious and hesitant. It's a strange thing to meet yourself face to face. You half expect some sci-fi twist. Maybe this is a clone or a hologram. But no, it's simpler than that. This is the confident self you've always carried inside, the one who has been waiting for you to stop lugging around burdens so it could finally step forward. The other you gestures toward a fallen log and sits. You sit across, feeling the grass tickle your ankles, the sun warm your face. For a while, there is only silence, but it's a comfortable silence, not the awkward kind. It feels like sitting with an old friend. Finally, the confident self speaks, but not in words. The message arrives directly in your chest, clear as a bell. You already know who you are. You've just forgotten to believe it. The meadow tilts slightly as the truth of it settles into you. All those years of self-doubt, of apologizing for existing, shrinking so others could shine, it was never about lacking worth. It was about forgetting that you had it all along. And here's something fascinating to weave into this moment. Historians still argue whether Julius Caesar truly said "et tu, Brute" when he was betrayed. Shakespeare gave us that line, but ancient sources record different last words. The point is, sometimes what we remember or what we're told isn't the whole truth. And in the same way, the inner voice that has repeated your supposed flaws may not have been telling the truth either. Maybe it was just theater, a script you outgrew. Your confident self chuckles softly, yes, chuckles. It's a reminder that confidence doesn't have to mean solemn or intimidating. It can laugh. It can roll its eyes at the absurdity of how seriously you've taken every misstep. It pats its own chest as if to say, "Lighten up, you're allowed to be human." You find yourself laughing along, the kind of laughter that starts small but grows until it keys the tension out of your ribs. It feels so good you almost wheeze, like when you remember a joke at the worst possible time, say during a serious meeting, and can't keep a straight face. The other you smiles wider, nodding, delighted that you get it now. Laughter is confidence too. A curious fact surfaces here, like a little bonus from history. In ancient Sparta, men were actually trained not only for battle, but also for wit. Cutting humor and sharp retorts were prized almost as highly as swordplay. A clever comeback was considered a mark of strength. So, yes, humor has always been a form of power. And here you are, reclaiming it in this meadow. The confident self rises and offers you a hand. When you take it, a spark runs through you, warm, electric, but soothing at the same time. You stand taller, as if some of that assurance has transferred directly into your spine. Your chest feels broader, your gaze steadier. Together, you walk across the meadow. With every step, you sense layers of timidity slipping away. Times you hesitated to speak up. Times you stayed quiet rather than risk being wrong. Times you apologized when you did nothing wrong. All of it peels off, falling behind like old skins, until you feel bare, but not vulnerable, bare like truth, like authenticity. The confident self pauses by a pool of still water nestled among the grasses. You peer in, expecting to see only your face, but the surface shows scenes of moments when you were braver than you remembered. Speaking in class despite shaking hands, helping someone when no one else did, surviving something that once felt impossible. The other you points, reminding you confidence isn't only in the future, it's already in your past. Proof that you've carried it all along. And then, unexpectedly, another image flickers across the pool. A memory of you, fumbling awkwardly, maybe tripping in public, or saying something silly in a conversation. You groan inwardly, ready to cringe again. But the confident self, it laughs, shaking its head. The pool shifts, showing the same moment, but this time it feels different. Not humiliating, just human, even endearing. Suddenly you realize the confident version of you doesn't erase mistakes, it reframes them. Did you know in medieval manuscripts, scribes sometimes doodled funny little creatures, snails fighting knights, rabbits with swords, right in the margins of sacred texts? It's a quirky reminder that even in serious work, humans have always found space for play. And maybe your so-called failures are just the doodles in the margins of your life. Not disasters, but charming footnotes that prove you were here, alive, trying. You laugh again, freer this time. The meadow echoes it back like a chorus. The confident self smiles, then begins to fade, not disappearing but merging into you, until you stand alone, but not alone at all. The presence is inside now, humming in your chest, strong and steady. You step forward, noticing how your shadow has changed. Good. It's taller, cleaner, no longer weighed down. You feel ready, not just to release what was, but to create what will be. The path ahead curves toward a grove of trees, their branches arching into a doorway. You walk toward it, every stride surer, every breath fuller. The voice of your confident self still lingers, whispering like a low drumbeat. You already know. You already are. Just walk forward. And so you do, lighter than before, laughter still soft on your lips, your chest buzzing with a strength you'd forgotten was yours all along. The grove welcomes you like an embrace. Branches curve overhead, knitting together to form a vaulted ceiling of green. Light pours through the leaves in shifting dapples, scattering gold across your shoulders, as if the forest itself has draped you in a robe of sunlight. Your confident self hums quietly inside you now, steady as a heartbeat. With each step, you sense a new clarity. This is where the stories you've carried, the ones that shaped how you've seen yourself, are ready to be rewritten. The air thickens, not uncomfortably, but with presence. You know you are not just in a forest, you are in a library. Not a library of books, though. Instead, the trunks of these trees hold stories. As you pass, bark unfurls like parchment, revealing words, images, whole chapters of your life. Some are bright and playful, others ache with shadows, but all of them are yours. You stop before one tree, its bark etched with a scene. You, standing small, shrinking from someone's harsh words. The story reads, "I am not enough." Your chest tightens at the familiarity of it. For so long, this line has threaded through your life like an invisible chain. But then you notice something unusual. The words aren't carved in stone. They shimmer faintly, like chalk on a board. And suddenly, the truth hits. You can rewrite them. Your fingertip glows as you reach out, brushing across the words. Slowly, gently, you erase "I am not enough" and replace it with something new. I am more than enough, even in my imperfections. The tree absorbs the phrase, bark closing around it, and then blossoms burst across its branches, white flowers unfolding with fragrant joy. You laugh, startled at how immediate the change is. Who knew rewriting your story could cause literal trees to bloom? Here's something fascinating. Historians still argue whether Homer, the supposed author of the Iliad and Odyssey, was one person or many. Maybe those great epics weren't the voice of a single poet at all, but a chorus of storytellers weaving their threads together. And in the same way, your story has never been authored by just one voice. It's been influenced by family, teachers, friends, strangers, even enemies. But here, in this forest, you take the pen back. You choose the next verses. Another tree unfurls, showing you the phrase, "I always fail when I try." You wince. That one has been heavy. But you smile now because you know how to handle it. With your glowing fingertip, you cross out "always" and rewrite, "I sometimes stumble, but I always learn and rise again." The bark shivers, then bursts into fruit, round, glowing orbs that drop into your hands. You bite into one, juice sweet and cool, flooding you with the memory of every time you've stood back up. Confidence tastes like honey, apparently. You continue wandering. Each tree presents a line, a fragment of the old narrative. I am unworthy of love. I am weak. I have no control. Each time you pause, breathe, and call right, the forest responds with blooms, fruits, or glowing vines. Slowly, the whole grove transforms from a somber archive into a radiant sanctuary. And just when you're getting comfortable, one tree reveals a sentence that makes you laugh out loud. I peaked in high school. You snort, shaking your head because really, that's the story you've been holding on to. You erase it with flair, replacing it with, "My best chapters are always ahead of me." The tree responds by sprouting a swing from its branches, as if congratulating you with a playful wink. A quirky fact drifts into your mind. In the Middle Ages, people used to believe that cats could steal your soul if you stared into their eyes too long while you slept. It's absurd, of course, but it shows how easily stories, even the most bizarre ones, can be believed when repeated enough. And suddenly you realize your self-limiting beliefs have been no more true than medieval cat myths. They just sounded convincing because you let them. Why? You giggle, imagining your old fears dressed as mischievous cats trying to steal your confidence. The thought is so silly that your shoulders shake, and in that laughter, something loosens, a final thread of belief that these stories ever truly defined you. You step deeper into the grove, noticing now that not every story needs rewriting. Some are beautiful as they are. You pause at one tree that shows you laughing with a friend, the words reading, "I bring joy to others." Another shows you surviving something hard, "I am stronger than I realize." These you leave untouched, tracing them gently with gratitude. The deeper you go, the more the grove reflects this balance, rewriting what limits, preserving what empowers, until finally you come to the largest tree of all, its trunk massive, its bark etched with glowing letters. You step close, heart quickening. This is the core belief, the one beneath all others. The words read, "I am my past mistakes." You stare, breath caught. So much of your laughs as life has been tangled in this one sentence, hasn't it? And yet, here it is, chalk on bark, not stone, changeable. Your fingertip trembles as you reach out. Slowly, you erase "my past mistakes" and write, "I am my resilience, my becoming, my possibility." The tree shudders as if sighing with relief. Light pours from its trunk, flooding the entire grove. Flowers rain from above. Fruits roll across the earth. Vines spiral upward in glowing coils. The whole forest sings, not with words, but with a frequency you feel in your bones, a hymn of renewal. You stand there, bathed in the glow, and realize you've rewritten not just stories, but the script of your own subconscious. You've shifted from victim to author, from reader to creator. The confident self inside you hums louder, pleased. You sense that you've unlocked a door into an even deeper chamber of rest and renewal. Ahead, through the glowing trees, you glimpse the outline of something vast, ancient, and inviting, a temple carved from light itself. Your chest expands with anticipation. The forest whispers, "Go on." The temple awaits. And so you step forward, laughter still warm in your chest, rewritten stories glowing in your wake, ready to enter the sanctuary where renewal will take its deepest root. The grove's light leads you forward until the trees part, revealing a clearing so vast and quiet that the very air seems to pause for you. Rising from the center is the temple, its walls luminous, carved from pale stone that glows like moonlight soaked into marble. Columns stretch high, but instead of sharp lines, they curve softly, like arms reaching to cradle the sky. You approach slowly, almost reverently, though there's no demand here for reverence. The temple doesn't intimidate, it welcomes. Its great doors, wide open, reveal a space inside not filled with relics or statues, but with cushions of light, pools of still water, and alcoves where soft breezes flow. This temple has no idols because it was never built for a god outside of you. It was built for you, for the part of you now stepping inside, lighter, braver, rewritten, whole. Your bare feet glide across smooth floors that hum faintly, as if each step sends a song through the Saint One. The air smells of cedar and lavender. You notice niches along the walls where lamps burn. Not flames, but orbs of steady golden glow. They breathe in rhythm with you. Inhale, and they brighten. Exhale, and they dim, as though the temple itself is syncing with your body. At the center lies a great circle, padded with cushions. You sink into them, the fabric molding perfectly to your body, holding you without pressing back. The sensation is like falling into the safest embrace you've ever known. And here, in this circle, you feel the temple begin its work, not through rituals or chants, but through stillness. Every breath deepens the glow around you, and every exhale seems to carry away one last hidden scrap of doubt. Above, the ceiling opens into a dome. Through it, you can see the stars, not the scattered constellations of the garden, nor the mirrored ripples of the river, but the entire sky, vast and alive. The stars wheel slowly, grandly, like a cosmic mobile turning just for you. For a moment, you think, maybe this is what the inside of my soul looks like. Vast, lit, infinite. A thought drifts gently across your mind, like a leaf floating on water. You are not your fear, nor your stories, nor your wounds. You are the one who survived them. You are the one who writes new chapters. You laugh softly at the sudden simplicity of it. It's like realizing you've had the answer key all along, but you were too busy doodling in the margins. Speaking of doodles, remember the medieval scribes drawing sword-wielding rabbits in holy books? Yes, even here in your temple, you're allowed to laugh. Confidence is holy too. And here's a curious historical tidbit to anchor you. Some scholars argue whether the Library of Alexandria truly contained every knowledge of the ancient world, or whether that's a myth magnified by nostalgia. Maybe it was grand, maybe less so, but the idea that a place could hold the sum of wisdom still inspires us. This temple is your personal library of Alex, Andrea. Except nothing here burns. Nothing is lost. Every lesson, every mistake, every joy, it's all cataloged safely in your body's memory, accessible when you need it. You recline deeper into the cushions, eyes drifting half shut. Warmth pools at the base of your spine, rising slowly until your whole body hums like a string plucked by unseen fingers. You feel softer but stronger, heavier but lighter, a paradox that only makes sense here in the temple of renewal. Something shifts nearby. You glance to the side and notice alcoves opening into chambers. In one, a pool glows faintly, surface steaming with warmth. You wander toward it, dipping a foot in. The water is silky, wrapping you in heat that penetrates to your bones. As you slide in, every muscle unwinds. Every knot releases. The water doesn't wash you, it rewrites you, like fresh ink spreading across a clean page. You lean back, floating, hearing faint laughter ripple through the chamber. Not mocking laughter, but playful, rious, purring as though the walls themselves are reminding you, relax. You've done the work, now let yourself be held. Historians still argue whether ancient dream temples in Greece, where people slept hoping to be healed by sacred visions, were psychological therapy or spiritual mystery. Either way, the principle is the same. Rest itself heals. And now, as you float in your own dream temple, you realize you've built the very thing those pilgrims sought. A place where sleep is medicine, where story is therapy, where release is sacred. You rise from the pool, body shimmering with droplets of light, and return to the circle of cushions. When you sink down again, your body feels different, restored yet tender, like fresh clay, still soft but ready to harden into something strong. The temple's glow dims slightly, urging you toward stillness, toward sleep. Your eyelids grow heavy, and your breath slows until it matches the lamps on the walls. You curl into the cushions, pulling silence around you. Like a blanket. The last thought before you drift is not about wounds, nor about fears. It is simply this: I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to shine. I am enough. And with that, the temple hums a final lullaby, and your body releases the last of its resistance, surrendering fully to rest. The cushions beneath you soften even further, almost like clouds forming around your body. You feel no edges, no pressure, just suspension, weightless, safe. The lamps along the temple walls glow slower now, their rhythm stretching to match the pace of your sleep-bound breath. Inhale, a calm tide of light. Exhale, a gentle wave receding. The temple begins to blur, its outlines softening, merging with the darkness behind your eyelids. The dome of stars overhead melts into a silver mist, and the floor beneath you feels as though it is drifting. The temple was always within you. It doesn't need to stay in stone or light. It carries itself now into your dreams, into the deep caverns of your resting mind. Your body sinks further, your thoughts thinning like morning fog. The laughter you shared with your confident self, the rewriting in the grove, the river's steady current, the garden's gentle release, all of it weaves together into a single thread, wrapping you with warmth. Every breath reassures you. You have done enough. You have let go enough. You are enough. The stories that once bound you are silent now. What remains is spacious, open, soft. As you drift further, the temple's hum fades into the rhythm of your heartbeat, steady and sure. The last image you carry is of yourself, lighter, brighter, whole, resting in a sanctuary that belongs entirely to you. And from here the dreams arrive, slow and kind, carrying you deeper into sleep, into renewal, into the quiet certainty that tomorrow you will rise refreshed, restored, and confident in the truth of your becoming. Good night, my friend. Sweet dreams.